Hello, children of popcorn. It is I, Mr. Popcorn, and we have an interview today. We have Albert Birney, the writer, director, and leading actor of Obex, which myself and the Baron recently covered. Hello, Albert. Good afternoon, I believe your end, yes?
Yes, good afternoon and good morning to you.
And thank you very much for joining me. And by way of Peter Walkden Publicity shout out, follow them up. And you've got a great little, fascinating little film there called Obex, which we've covered on the pod there, Albert. I really enjoyed it. I thought aesthetically, artistically, and emotionally, it was quite a journey. And to that end, how did the journey of Obex begin, putting it together, making it a reality?
Yeah, it began the first little seed was actually not a seed, it was an insect. It was the cicada. And in Baltimore here where I live, that particular type of cicada comes up every 17 years. And so in the summer of 2021, we were in one of the 17-year outbreaks, and they just were everywhere. I started filming them, and I
Mhm.
had all this footage of these bugs, and I kind of worked backwards from there and kind of figured out, okay, let me maybe make a character here who is in their house, and these bugs are everywhere, and that was the first little seed, and then it kind of grew from there. I got a dog randomly, so then that worked its way into the movie, and
Mhm.
you all these things just kind of you just collect them until you say, I think this is enough for a movie.
I get that. I get that. I certainly get the cicada thing. I don't know if it was a 17-year cycle in New Zealand because we had cicadas all of the time. And the
Hmm.
noise, the noise which you really
Yeah.
captured on the film very well. And the meditation of the main characters uh, the meditation on the cicada by the main character. It reminded me of David Lynch Blue Velvet a little bit, the start where it goes
Hmm.
underneath the
Yeah.
finely manicured lawn. And to me, it was what was going on in the main character's mind as well, because he is a shut-in.
Hmm.
Well, he isolates himself, certainly. Don't have to go into huge personal detail or anything. Is this reflected on yourself there or people that you know, Albert?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a part of myself that just loves staying at home and
Yeah, I feel you.
usually yeah, and especially coming out of like the lockdown of 2020 when,
Mhm,
we were all at home and we were all on our screens, that's when this movie kind of was starting to take shape. So, yeah, I like to think I'm not in quite the same level as Connor, he can't go to the supermarket on his own, whereas I love my daily walks to the grocery store. So he has aspects of me, but I think I'm a little bit more in the world than he is.
Yeah, no, I could tell it was taken to an extreme, but there was also a humanity to it as well, because, the pandemic, we can all relate to that. And the world's a little crazy, not to go into current events or anything
Mhm.
like that, but the world is a little crazy. Definitely could relate to the character. You've got the love for Sandy, the dog, if memory serves. That's the dog's
Mhm.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone can relate to that. I mean, not that you're copying, but you look at the popularity of John Wick. Yeah,
Hmm.
so that
Yeah.
whole connection to a pet there is definitely seen. And now there's quite a bit of what is it called? ASEC art through it.
Hmm. Hmm.
The computer art, if you will, there, children.
Yeah.
So is this something that you're into yourself, or did you look to outside sources for the more video art aspects of Obex?
Yeah, no, I definitely as a child I had a computer class at school and we did illustrations with that style with the symbols, the ASCII art,
ASCII, thank you.
and I have some early self-portraits. Yeah, I have some early self-portraits I did in that style. So it was just one of those things that when I decided to take a look back at this specific time period of 1987, it was all these things that were kind of, even though I was a child, it was all these things that were kind of orbiting in my brain and decided to like, okay, Connor is not the age I was in 1987, but what would I have done if I was, an adult at this time? And that's kind of how those made it into it. And yeah, I just love using technology in ways that maybe it's not meant for, So it's like
Yeah,
these
yeah,
typewriters and keyboards. And that's the cool thing is that this type of artwork, it goes back as far as the typewriter. There's early examples of it, of people doing this, 130 years ago. So it's yeah, it was fun to kind of like put a little spotlight on that.
yeah, absolutely. And it's there's the internal video art, but you also use the hardware, if you will, of the TVs itself to make an art piece. You have the tower there,
Hmm.
which your main character watches. And do you use, is this something that you do as an artistic practice? As I myself used to make sculptures out of broken old TVs and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love old technology, old TVs. 15 years ago when people were first starting to get their new flat screens, every trash night where I lived at the time, there would just be these huge TVs, and I grabbed
Okay.
every single one of them. And a lot of them I opened up and took apart and used the insides for film props and sculptures. And yeah,
Nice.
there's something fascinating about them. Yeah.
Absolutely. They're very old world, but they are a communication medium where we've seen a lot of good and very bad things come through
Yeah.
since the 1950s, over half a century pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so I definitely get that. And speaking of media represented in the film, there's also ga the world of gaming, old school retro gaming as well. On the surface, you think Zelda, but Baron and Soxy on the pod saw a couple of older games in there as well, but I won't speak on them. Do
Hmm.
you want to mention what they are, or is that something you would rather leave for the viewer to find out?
I'm happy to name some, and if I don't name the one that the others named on the podcast, I'd love to hear. But there was King's Quest was a game I played
Mhm.
quite a lot of.
Yeah.
Sierra put that out. One of the first games I remember seeing on my friend's computer was this game called Dark Castle, which is it was like a black and white kind of exploring. You'd throw little stones at bats and things, um, and then also just a little bit later, the Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy, we
Okay.
had we had Final Fantasy 3 and 7 were two that I played a lot. Um, but yeah, Zelda, and then yeah. Any other ones that they mentioned? I'm curious.
I can't
Yeah,
remember at the moment. We do have the episode out there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the first two that you mentioned there, there's the ones that they
yeah.
did mention. Sorry, I can't remember exactly. 6:30
No,
in the
it's fine.
morning, forgive me.
Yeah.
Did you want to mention other people who have helped put the film together with you? As I see on the credits, it's very much, you're the spearhead of the project. Are there other people you wanted to shout out that helped with the film?
Yeah, the main one is Pete O's, who's a friend and filmmaker here in the States. And Pete has made, I think, about five feature films in as many years. And he does it
Wow.
in this way where he's behind the camera, he's doing sound, he's basically a one-man crew, and then he gets the actors together and they kind of write the movie as they go. So I had seen him doing that and kind of brought him on board and said, "Hey, Pete, what if we did the way you do it, make your movies, but we did it with this idea I have." And it was the first time he was kind of giving up the directorial
Hmm.
role and was just there to kind of workshop it with me and write it with me. And he was behind the camera. And so he's the main one. And then, for part two, we had a couple other people come on and help. But yeah, the crew was very, very small. And it, it, uh, it allowed us to kind of be light on our feet and just have fun.
Absolutely, with on the independent level, that's definitely the way to do it. You just said part two. Are we going, oh, should we expect a sequel there, Albert?
Well, yeah, well, part two being we shot the film in two parts from the first half was just Pete and I, and the second half we filmed a year later. But we have talked about a sequel that would take place 17 years later, so during the next Cicada
Oh,
Brews. screwed. So
Okay.
Connor would now be in 2004 if the first one was 87. So we would go into the future of 2004 to follow him.
What is that? That's about Windows XP? Is that
Yeah,
what?
right. Yeah, exactly. So I need to start finding some computers from that era to store in the basement until we're ready to make it.
I like how you're using the cicadas as well. We've covered a lot of Pennywise and It of late on the pod, and yes, something about it is reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, a part two does come along. And where is Obex at now? You're just doing interviews, you're on the press junket, so to speak.
Yeah, I believe it'll be in some theaters and then it will be online available to stream. I'm not exactly sure where, but it won't be hard to do a quick search for Obex movie and
Mm.
hopefully it by the time this is out, it'll be available.
Yeah, it's on Prime Video down here in Australia at the moment there,
Perfect. There you
Albert. Yes,
go.
so do check it out there, children. It is a fun watch. Any plugs you want to put out there for yourself there, Albert?
Oh gosh.
Or where
Just
can people follow you?
Yeah, yeah. There's I have a website which links to most of my movies. It's just A for Albert, A Birney, BIRNEY.com. And there you'll see all the different movies, both feature length and short I've made, and you can click on them and track them down. And yeah, if you like Obex, there's a ton of other ones that are all kind of connected. So yeah, check it out.
Any horror movies on the horizon? Any ideas along that line? Is that your genre at all there, Albert?
Yeah, I do. I grew up watching horror and I still love horror and I'm always trying to make a horror movie and then at some point they usually pivot or they have a little bit of horror but then
Hmm.
they go in another direction. But I would love to make a straight horror film and there's a couple ideas. I don't want to get too deep into them, but
Sure.
if I can make them then yeah, I would love to have a proper horror one down in the next couple years.
If you do, would be very interested in joining you on that journey there, Albert. And thank you for joining us very much today. We can wrap it up here if that's all right with you. If there's nothing else you want to mention.
Great. No, thanks for your time and asking questions.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll post up Albert's website there so you can follow him up there, children. Thank you very much for joining us there, Albert. And go to bed, children. Go to bed. Whoa.